Hey guys, my name is Kiwi Sama. Welcome to my channel, and today I just want to talk to you a little bit about X-Men and why the film franchise actually failed a long time ago. See, this is gonna hurt me because I do love the X-Men. I'm not a huge, I'm not a massive fan like most people that I know, and the reason I made this video is because I was in the theater and I was walking out, and this guy who was in front of me, he was like, "Oh, that raped my childhood." And I just thought to myself, I was like, did it? Did this movie in particular rape your childhood? Was this the one that just, violated your childhood? This one right here. And I just couldn't get it out of my head. I was like, if you really go back to like 2000, the first X-Men movie, that was kind of trash. And not like, oh, well, just it's set in its time. Oh, it's outright trash. Like from miscasting, to costumes, to settings, to action scenes, to character interactions, all of it was trash. And I'm gonna go through some of those with you real quick. Okay, let's begin. So, let's start off with my number one gripe about the X-Men movies. The costumes. I get it. Back in those days, in the early 2000s, having people in those bright costumes fighting each other would have looked ridiculous. Everybody like, oh, why is he wearing bright yellow, and why is this girl in all white? Like, what's up with that? That's so ridiculous. And I get it. It's a product of its time. But as early as 2010, I believe, when they did First Class and they showed that the blue and yellow really work well on screen, they never did anything else with that. They just kept using the same stupid armored black costumes that everybody hated. Everybody hates those costumes. I think they're so dumb. And then Wolverine, half the time he doesn't even wear a costume. He wears a tank top and some jeans. I know he has that look in the comics, and I know he's been known to wear random things. But I remember the cartoon show. And I remember the cartoon show where he would when he was with the X-Men, that was part of his family, and he loved to go in the danger room and train and do all this other stuff, and he was more active, and he'd wear his freaking costume. He didn't care what people thought of his costume. He wore bright yellow and blue spandex. Are you serious? It's ridiculous. But I think that was so cool because he didn't care. That's the character of Wolverine. He doesn't care. Anyway, back to the costumes. All the costumes weren't where they were supposed to be. The X pattern across the chest. The little color in between the black is it looks so jarring. You really think about it, it's so jarring. And Wolverine's hair, I just didn't like Wolverine's hair either. I think that was so dumb. I think it looks better. It doesn't translate well, but when it does, later on in movies and they show it more subdued, it looks way better. Anyway, my second reason, Cyclops. I was never a Cyclops fan when I was a kid. I always thought he was, too goody two shoes. Just same thing I thought about Superman when I was a kid. I thought they were oh my god, there's so much. They're so, oh, you gotta follow the rules. And nobody liked that. Nobody liked the camp counselor, the A student, the Mr. Perfect. Nobody liked that. But I just feel like they made him so much less than he actually is. I remember reading Joss Whedon's X-Men and thinking Cyclops is actually pretty cool. I didn't know he was this cool. And I started reading more about the character. I was like, he's way cooler than I thought he was. He can fight better than I thought he could. His powers are way more interesting than people thought they were. And in the movies, it was just basically just super heat vision. That's all it was. And I thought that was so dumb and a waste. If you go back to X2, he had one fight scene and then Lady Deathstrike just punked him. And then he was a slave for the rest of the movie. Really? That's what you want to do to one of your flagship characters? The original X-Man? He was the original X-Man. He was a first student. You didn't do anything with him. You wasted the talents of James Marsden. James Marsden's a good actor. Let him do something. Why did you just waste him? That was so dumb. And don't even get me started about the Wolverine, Cyclops, and Jean Grey dynamic. Let's be real. Wolverine's a dick. He was trying to sleep with some chick that was already in a committed relationship with a boyfriend she had been with for years prior. And he was just so so I'm Wolverine, so we're gonna do this or what? I'm dude, get back. If he did that today, everybody would call him a creep and he'd be out on the spot. He'd be canceled quick. Real quick. But whatever. I'm not gonna give myself an aneurysm over that. That was okay. The next thing that kind of just bothered me, the storylines. the storylines themselves are just so basic, and they weren't as good as the actual comics. And I know it, like nothing's gonna compare, literature over film. It's never gonna compare. But I thought they could have translated a little bit better. Like I feel like they had a lot of storylines to pull from, and Dark Phoenix, and all those other storylines that they keep reusing. I think it's so dumb. Day of the Future Past. I feel like they branched out a lot more, but I kind of feel like Kitty Pryde was wasted. In fact, she's been wasted since the first movie. I just feel like the storylines they've been using are so intrinsic to like the lore of X-Men that they don't translate very well to film. And I mean, like, what I mean is like a movie like God Loves, Man Kills, and like, X2 for everybody else. For a movie like X2, which adapts God Loves, Man Kills, didn't do as well as the book because they were just, it's an action movie and they have this great action set piece and it has Nightcrawler in it, but it doesn't have that pivotal scene where Nightcrawler basically gets called a monster in front of people, and it's the difference between appearance and actual action. And like, I thought that was such a great like scene, but they didn't showcase it, and they just had them just. And at the end of the movie, they just showed up and like, oh, we'll be watching you. That doesn't help your cause. That makes you look like villains. That makes you look like bad guys. Especially if you got the guy who was coming in there to assassinate the president originally, in there with you just like, hey, what's up? It just didn't translate well. And then the whole like Dark Phoenix, I thought that was so lackluster and like that's not even. I'm not talking about a new Dark Phoenix. I'm talking about Last Stand. Last Stand was a horrible movie, but it was actually in line with what the X-Men had been from that point. Like they didn't like deviate from the actual like tone of the movie. They didn't deviate as much as people like to say. Like the movie was such garbage. I remember liking it when I was younger. I still like it today. It has some pretty good like scenes and stuff. I like the fight scene in the house. I thought that was cool. Like, and I just don't know. They try to adapt things that need more meat on the bone, if you know what I mean. And lastly, I'm gonna say this, and I know it's not a lot of people gonna like it, but Logan wasn't great. Logan wasn't great. It was okay. And like, it's not even because I love the Old Man Logan comic book, because I thought that was kind of mediocre as well. Because how could he kill all the X-Men because they hesitate? I think that was dumb. I think people like Cyclops and Havoc and people like that wouldn't hesitate on him. Like they would stop him immediately. Like wake up. But I just feel like it was so hyped up because it was a sad movie. It was a sad superhero movie, and I was like, it just looks basic to me. It just they like I said, and another thing is the settings are just one setting. It's either all forest, which this one had a forest, and like for the majority of the movie, it was in like a little bit of city, and all the rest was in the desert. The whole like Wolverine having a daughter angle, and he was protecting his heart, and so on and so forth. His rage is his greatest enemy. I was like, God, that's so dumb. I feel like this was they missed the opportunity to do a lot of Wolverine's great rogues galleries. Like we never got Omega Red. The Silver Samurai we got was mediocre at best. We didn't get a great Sabretooth. Actually we did. Liv Schreiber was a great Sabretooth. We didn't get enough with him. We didn't get enough with like Daken. We should have got a Daken in the movie, something like that. But I feel like that movie wasted a lot of opportunities for greater aspects of Wolverine and X-Men lore, and I feel like that actually made me more upset because I didn't feel like I got the X-Men finale to Wolverine that I wanted. And I know a lot of people did. They feel like, oh, that was a great send-off, but I didn't feel like it was well deserved. And I don't know. I just feel like you shouldn't just judge this movie so harshly without thinking back to how poor the majority of the X-Men movies, if not all the X-Men movies. I think you should form your own opinion. And I think you should stick by your opinion. If somebody changes it, that's perfectly fine. If it's me, that's perfectly fine. But I think that it's unfair to just put the weight of the world on one project. And granted, I know Jennifer Lawrence and her politicking, like her wrestling backstage politicking terminology was just a death nail in the series, and her phoning in, and the storyline being trash, and like the villain being garbage, and all that stuff like that was horrible, and it caused the downfall of the movie itself, not to mention Disney buying them. But I feel like to judge it so harshly is completely unfair, because to me, I feel like that movie did the best it could with what it had available. Oh, that's my 2 cents on the matter. This is Kiwi Sama. Thank you so much for joining me. If you can, please send me a like or a comment at the bottom. Let me know how you feel. Maybe you have points that contradict mine, or maybe you feel like my points didn't land as well as yours, or you feel like you had more solid points. I love to hear about it. I'm usually around. I can come back as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. Hope you have a wonderful day. You take care. Peace.